this session. So be sure to register, and we'll be taking your questions live. So pop out whatever you want to in there. We're going to have our experts answer it. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to introduce you.
Start from the beginning.
So,
By the way,
I have no leak. That's okay.
Jesse, you can.
Yeah.
I mean, you're right.
Yeah.
It keeps breaking up.
Just go ahead.
You ready?
You're live.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Summer Solstice. I'm Chris Young from Camping World at Gander RV and Outdoors. We're going to jump right into a session about full timing with family. You've had a chance to take a look at some great travel trailers and fifth wheels. Why not take the opportunity to learn what it's like to live on the road with the family? And we've been working with some speakers who are doing it full time. Had some great times with them recently. They're going to help us out by answering your questions live. So if you have anything you want to ask, be sure to put it right in there. We're also going to be doing some giveaways, so be sure to register for that. Coming up, joining us here on the panel, I got.
Okay, we're going live. Everything's good.
What do you say we get a couple of videos going so you can learn a little bit more about them, and then we're going to dive right into the conversation right here at Summer Solstice.
My name's James.
And I'm Ashley.
We are at Pio Pico RV Resort. We're pretty new to the RV world. We sold our house back in October, so we've been traveling for about 4 months now. So our RV is a Keystone Sprinter 293 FWBHS. I said that so many times I have it memorized.
We have 2 kids, and we call them Goose and Maverick. Goose is our 5-year-old. She has a lot of energy and her own amazing personality.
Good morning. I'm usually the first one up.
And then we have our 11-month-old, and we call her Maverick. She
She likes to eat.
I know, that's exactly what it is.
Right, jump.
But we just kind of dove headfirst into this because we'd always talked about traveling the country. She actually threw out the idea of, what if we got a trailer and traveled the country? And then as soon as I heard that, I started doing research and dug in, and I think from that moment,
he took off with it. That was all he could talk about.
One of my favorite things about traveling the country is I've been able to get a hitch on the back of the fifth wheel, so that way me and Goose's dirt bikes can go everywhere we go. So we've ridden all across the country so far, and it is so fun to just have me and her go out and have a little daddy-daughter date cruising on our own little adventure. Dirt biking is awesome, but a little scary. Nice work, double 5. Even if we're not hiking at someplace crazy like the Grand Canyon or Fern Canyon, just getting out at the campground with the dog and the whole family and just going out and exploring, it's one of the freedoms that traveling the country allows us. I'm not gonna lie, it can be a little challenging to cook and prepare meals with such limited counter space.
He is super handy, and he made me an extra counter space that flips up whenever I need it, so that way I can cook the meals that I really want to cook. And I've enjoyed cooking on the road. It's been great.
So a lot of people want to know how we travel full time. They're like, don't you work? And we do, actually. I work a ton on the road, but I get to work in all these different places across the country because we've actually been on YouTube for 4 years now. The interview portion of today is over, and now we got some barbecue going on.
Say hi.
Vlogging actually helps us look back and see the things that we've done, and it helps Goose look back and see the things that she was able to be a part of. And the nice thing is that she's loving it. She vlogs herself. While he is working and editing, we actually take time to do some schoolwork with Goose. She is 5, but was born a little late to get into school, which is what makes traveling perfect.
Does bees go this way?
No. Bees want to be friends. We do a little bit in the morning, and then the afternoon we get to explore and play.
Like I said earlier, we've been on YouTube for 4 years now, so we've made friends all across the country doing that. So one of the cool things about this is we're now getting to go see them in their hometown, which we've never done before. So we've met people in Nevada and Southern California, and eventually we're gonna go over into Texas and Tennessee, and just having this sense of community all across the country has been crazy. And now we're learning about all of these full-time families, and we can plug in with Facebook groups. So me and Ashley definitely complement each other very well. I am a spur-of-the-moment adventurous, go out there and let's just find out something crazy to do.
I like to plan things. I can help plan us ahead as far as getting an RV park, getting to where we need to be, what we can do. And he says, let's just do something crazy. And we do, and it always turns out fun.
It'd be pretty boring if she was always in charge. So we end all of our vlogs with the same message. We always say, remember guys, stay positive. Life is an adventure. So get out there and make some memories.
I'm Heath.
And I'm Alyssa.
And we've been full-time RVing now for 3.5 years.
Well, Heath and I started RVing right after our wedding day. So before RVing, we were both working full-time jobs. I worked at a nonprofit and Heath was working at a software startup, very much 9 to 5, sitting in an office. We knew that we wanted to get out and see the country and mostly go to all 50 states for our honeymoon. We just wanted to do something bold. We wanted to start our marriage in a crazy way. So we went from, you know, classic 9 to 5 to traveling across the country.
I love her, even if she hates me before she has coffee. We enjoyed writing, we fell into video and we enjoyed doing that, and so we wanted to be doing something that was more creative, so we kind of looked at this period of time as a chance to go and chase those skill sets that we could ultimately pursue as our careers. We wanted to go travel around the country and see America.
It's sunrise and we are eating breakfast on the beach. Amazing.
After a month in, we were traveling out on the Pacific coast and we realized how much we loved the lifestyle and that we wanted to keep doing it. And so after that initial 7 months on the road, we pretty much figured out a way to sustain this lifestyle. We built our business, we paid off a bunch of student debt, and we decided that we wanted to keep traveling. So we just enjoyed RVing and what the lifestyle had enabled for us. So daily life in the RV is I wake up, I make coffee, we sit down, and basically just dive into work for the day. So make sure to go pick up Alyssa's book, Living in an RV, on Amazon. I'll see you guys next time on the RV Entrepreneur Podcast. We'll go on walks. We have family that comes to visit us. We'll have friends that come stay with us on the road, and then we'll take days off from time to time if we're in really cool places. Like we were in Maine this summer, and we saw the sunrise come up over Cadillac Mountain. You know, we'd go out and make sure to do all these things in the area. We have inflatable kayaks that we bought 2 years ago, and we carry them everywhere. We'll inflate them and go in the rivers. We'll go in the lakes over here.
We have our bikes on the back of the car. And we do a lot of just hiking and getting out on our feet and exploring, because we do see so much of America through the windshield. So getting out and experiencing it at a slower pace is always really fun. Especially whenever we're in new, beautiful places, we try to go on adventures and really get to explore and be out in nature, because that is one big, beautiful part of RVing, is how much you can experience.
I think one of the biggest things that draws us and other people to this lifestyle is freedom, that we can choose. Like if there's days where we're just feeling overwhelmed, we can take a full day off and just go play and explore. And one of the cool things about this lifestyle too is that when we do take days off and time off, we happen to already be parked in really cool places. And so we could take off our evenings or mornings or just take a full day off and just say, today we're gonna go explore a national park. We very much work hard, play hard. Like sometimes I get overwhelmed and I'm like, man, we haven't done anything fun lately. But then I'll look at all my photos from the past 6 months and be like, oh, we went to the Keys, we went to Myrtle Beach, we went to Maine. You know, we went to all these amazing places. And I just know that we're never gonna regret this period of our life, taking the chance to go out and travel and experience the country. Like we'll never have to look back and say like, oh man, I wish I would have done that when I was younger. You know, we care less about stuff, more about experiences. It's allowed us to build relationships across the country. We're so much more likely to roll into a town and visit old friends or visit, you know, second, third cousins that we hadn't seen before because of the RV. So it's very much been this enabler of cool experiences. And I think it's made us better versions of ourselves, as corny as that sounds, but it really has.
Have you ever wondered what it takes to travel in an RV with a family? Whether you are homeschooling on the road, finding kid-friendly campgrounds, trying to get some work done, or even coordinating nap time, there is a lot of planning when you travel with a family. The RV experts are sharing all of their tips and tricks for traveling the country with kids. Featuring James and Ashley, full-time RVers with their family of 4 since 2017. Heath and Alyssa, RVing since 2014, expert RV entrepreneurs and proud new parents. You're watching Camping World Summer Solstice. This is Full Timing with a Family.
They've had some great adventures, haven't they? Who better to learn what it's like to full time with the family while doing an RV than from the experts themselves. I am honored once again to have with me Heath and Alyssa, and from the Chicks Life, James and Ashley. Hey guys, what's happening?
Hey, Chris.
It's been so long. How you guys doing?
Good.
Yeah, man, we moved like 10 miles down the road, so yeah.
New campsite for
New
the
campsite,
show.
new views, yeah.
I'll tell you what, yeah, we're going to talk about that here in a second, but I want to take a quick minute to remind everybody, be sure to register for the giveaway. I'm doing 3 $250 gift certificates as soon as we get done. So full timing with the family. That's the whole reason why we brought both of you guys in. And people are streaming questions to us live. So what do you say we hop right into some questions? Right off the bat, what states would you guys recommend adventuring to first? Heath and Alyssa, take it away.
It depends, I think, on where it is that you're starting out from. Like, we're originally from Texas, so we instantly went west to Colorado to the mountains because it's an easy day drive away. So like you don't feel like you're like venturing out completely into the unknown, but it's also this totally gorgeous new landscape. Plus in the West, there's way more campsites, way easier to find places to camp versus the East Coast.
So you
Yeah,
think
I
the same thing, Heath? Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that it would be that much different from before we had our daughter Ellie, which is that we have an RV, our home moves, and so we try to go further north where it's less hot. Especially, I think that will even be a greater impetus now that we have a little one. We don't want to necessarily, we're from Texas, we love it there, but I don't want to be there in the summer in an RV, even just driving down the road and having to pull over and make lunch and things like that. So we're headed west and hopefully get to go to some national parks like the Tetons and things like that, and share that with our daughter. And that'll be really cool to have her be outside.
Nice. James and Ashley, what about you guys?
I mean, I think they make a very good point. It really depends on where you're starting out and when you're starting out. If it's in the middle of the summer, you probably don't want to go to Arizona. It's going to be ridiculously hot. So really, I mean, they call them snowbirds for a reason. You travel south in the winter to stay warm. You come up and explore the north when it's whatnot. So we are originally from Oregon. So we actually just started heading south and did the Redwoods and really loved that. And did kind of California first. But I think it really depends on where you're at, because honestly, no matter what state you're in, there's going to be some amazing things nearby. So there's no point in driving to the other side of the country right away. You might as well make your stops along the way as you go.
Plus, I mean, it's a little difficult traveling that far with kids. I mean, 8-hour drive, that's not a fun trip with a kid.
Nope. we try and limit our travel days to maximum of 5 hours, and that's like pushing it.
Okay, that's actually a good tip. Now, while you're out and about, we just had a question come in. It's a really good one. How do your kids meet or play with other kids while you're on the road?
That is
that us? Okay,
Yeah.
so we've actually, it's been great for Goose and Maverick just because it's taught them that you don't always rely on the friends you have. You have to kind of branch out, and you have to be willing to put yourself out there to meet people, which has been great life lessons. Like, I wish I had that when I was a kid, because sometimes meeting new people, I'm like,
I was going to
hi.
say, this has been good not only for Goose, but for Ashley to put herself out there too. Because when you are at a new park every couple weeks, like, you know, you got to go up to the kids on the playground and learn to say, hey, we want to play tag or whatever. So it's really gotten her out of that comfort zone, which I think is a great life lesson, is to be able to just go up to somebody and try and have a conversation and learn to talk to someone, because especially nowadays, I feel like so many people don't have that ability to just go up and start talking to people. So I think it's a great lesson.
Right. Now, Heath and Alyssa, you guys have a 1-year-old. So what's that like, having one so small, and what's the interaction like with other people with small kids?
She waves at every single person we pass by in the campground. It's honestly never been easier to make friends, because you just roll up with the cute baby and everybody wants to say hi to her. It's a little weird right now because of COVID. People like want to pick her up, but they're like, no, I need to, social distance. And
I think it's actually better, because then strangers don't go pick up your baby.
Yeah, no, that's probably true. That would be weird. Yeah, but I mean, as far as how it's been traveling with a 1-year-old, we took her on her first month-long international RV trip when she was 4 months old. And so we went to Italy and we RV'd over there this past fall. And we were in a smaller motorhome, so we moved all the time. She wasn't mobile yet, so she wasn't even crawling, and she would just literally sleep on us. So we would drive during her nap time. So that was probably our first major lesson that we learned. If you're traveling with a kid that's maybe under 2, and again, we've only been doing this a short time, but it's like we will wake her up, play, eat breakfast, and then we drive during naps, because it's a million times easier, and she's doing 2 naps a day. And then we did that for a month, and she did really great. And then now we're in the States in our bigger motorhome, and we've been in this for like 6 months, and we've traveled much slower. So we'll stay in a place for like a month or a couple weeks, and mostly because of COVID, we've been pretty stationary as well. But it hasn't been that different than pre-RV life, I would say.
We just added a baby to our already RV travel.
Yeah.
Right. So life didn't really change. It's just the travel pattern changed a little bit.
Yeah, I think you want to travel slower when you have kids versus when we first started RVing. We never stayed anywhere more than like 3 nights in a row. We were just like, go, someplace new. We'd want to see it all. And now we're like, hey, 1 week at a time, like, let's really explore an area. Let's like have some days where we're not driving at all, so we can just all relax. And it's a lot better.
Right. Now, I know you guys got a little while before you get into this, but have you thought about what you're going to do homeschooling on the road? Have you looked into any research on that yet?
That's the problem for future Heath and Alyssa to figure out.
Yeah, we just straight up deferred it. Our lives changed so much so quickly that my thing is like, we'll figure it out. We've got a few years. I don't think we need to start applying for anything or worry about it, because if we made a plan, it would probably change. And I think we come from the position of, we have a lot of friends who have raised their kids on the road. And like one of our really good friends, she was road schooled until she was 18. She went to college, she got her master's. She runs her own business now. She's actually done a lot of work with Gander and Camping World. And so for us, it kind of broke the stigma of, hey, if we want to be stationary and have her go to a private or public school, great. If we end up wanting to be on the road for a period of time with her, then we know that we can educate her that way. I just feel like whatever way we choose, it's going to be fine, and then it's going to work out.
Yeah. I wanted to get your take, because I know it's going to be, something completely different with James and Ashley. So guys, what's homeschooling like on the road? Yeah, exactly.
Are we supposed to be teaching our kids? Is that
Wait,
something?
what?
I didn't know.
I mean, I thought life was the ultimate teacher, and what's better than teaching somebody life than changing the wheel on the tire? Get out there, Goose Maverick. Go.
Hook up the pooper.
I'm going to defer this question to Ashley because she's actually got her master's in education and has worked in the school district and whatnot. So that's all her.
Great. No pressure. So basically, I kind of sat down with Goose and asked.
Sorry, we're getting feedback.
Oh, there we go.
So I asked Goose what you want, because kids learn different ways. They have different things that they want to do, and I wanted to know what it was that she was going to be passionate about. And every year it changes. So I ask her every single year, what is it that you think you might want to know? Like the first year she wanted to learn how to read by herself. She really wanted to be able to read chapter books all by herself.
Okay.
And then the next year she wanted to write a book like I was. And so she wanted to learn how to make, the sentences and put it all together. So it's really just formatting it, I feel, for your kid. And
also revolving it around your travels. Like one of the big things that is great about traveling is she can learn depending on where we're at. So if we're going hiking and looking at all these different rocks, we learn about geology or whatnot. If we're on the East Coast, we can go to Jamestown and whatnot, and she can learn about history there because there's so much history on the East Coast and whatnot. So revolving your education, getting that hands-on, it's almost like full-time field trips is what we're doing with her, which is great. So it's a very unique way of learning. And I mean, you're always biased about your own kids, but we think she's doing great. And everybody tells us that she feels so advanced and she feels like she's doing so good. So I give all that credit to Ashley because she is amazing. She is a planner. So she's got like multiple folders and binders and books broken down by days and weeks and whatnot. So yeah, that's all her.
So would you also say a key to it though is keeping something steady and consistent?
Yes. So, I mean, you have to be willing to kind of, I don't know, play off the books or whatever.
Roll with the punches,
I guess, because you're not always going to be able to do what you want to do that day. So if something comes up that I can't do what was planned, then so be it. We'll do it later, but she'll still learn. Like in the car, we do geography. And so we'll say, what is, west of Montana? And she'll have to tell us that, what is west of Montana. And
and also like she has a good combination of paperwork, handwritten stuff that we do in the rig. But if there's a day where like, hey, it's an adventure day, we're going out to do something, maybe she'll only do a little bit or no paperwork, and it's all hands-on learning out and about. So it's really just the benefit of homeschooling is you can be flexible, and you can like, maybe she'll go 3 or 4 days where it's all hands-on, all adventuring and whatnot. And then to make up for it, maybe on Saturday, she'll do a little bit of paperwork or something like that. So you can be very flexible, which is great.
So I have a big problem with my kids and the electronics. We're in that age. Do you guys have that issue? And if so, how do you get them off of it?
Yes. Oh, Lord. Electronics.
They're a necessary evil, I feel like.
It is. Sometimes on travel days when you're just ready to pull out your hair, you got to give yourself some grace and say, it's okay, they can watch. But at the same time, we like to have our kids earn their tablet time.
Yeah.
Right.
So
it's a privilege, not a right. So if they're being great, doing their chores and whatnot, then we'll probably be more flexible and give them more screen time than if not. But I think the most screen time that the kids get is travel days, because there's nothing worse than having a screaming child and kids throwing tantrums in the back. Not that our kids would ever do that.
No.
But I've heard.
None of them do. Yeah, none of them do.
We've heard stories.
So I would say travel days that's the weak spot as far as electronics go. But when we're at a campground, we can just say, go outside, go build the sandcastle, let's go explore. And as long as, we have sight lines or we feel comfortable with the campground and whatnot, we're okay with allowing them to go outside and play, especially the older. The younger, not as much freedom, obviously, but
minor details.
Yeah. So Heath and Alyssa, we just had a great question come in. Any suggestions on raising a new baby on the road? Because I think it could be a great lifestyle, but I also could see where it could pose a whole lot of challenges.
Yeah.
I think that if you want to travel as a family, like at any age, that doing it as a baby will keep your kid be more adaptable. Like Ellie can go anywhere, she can nap anywhere. She's used to being in different places all the time because we worked really hard from when she was like 4 weeks old to introducing her to this travel lifestyle. So I mean, they say babies can adapt to whatever your lifestyle is. If you start traveling when she's younger, then you've really set yourself up for years and years of travel in the future. Hopefully, I'm not quite there yet, but at 1 year, it's going really well for us.
I'd also say that.
So much.
Go ahead.
That first year is so impressionable.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I feel like we also had to almost get over a little bit of a mental barrier very early on, because we took off traveling on our honeymoon and then just kept doing it, and we loved it. And a lot of people always told us, get it out of your system before you have kids. And I just remember thinking like, okay, I never really processed it because I was like, okay, whatever. But then when we started got pregnant, I said, we want to still travel. We especially want to be able to show a little one the world and take her alongside adventures and go see other cultures and all that type of thing. So I almost feel like there was a mental barrier. And one of the things that we did, I don't know if this is a good way to do it, but before she was ever born, I got a fare drop deal, which is like a good flight deal in my inbox for $400 round trip to Italy for a month. And we'd always wanted to go. And Alyssa was like 6 months pregnant, and I booked it.
I was 8 months pregnant.
8 months.
Like baby was coming any day, and he's like, "Babe, it's only $400 round trip to Italy for October. Do you want to go?" I'm like, "I'm about to have a baby."
But you said yes.
You understand? Like we couldn't even buy a ticket for the baby because we didn't have a birth date, we didn't have a name or any of those things that you need for a plane ticket.
And we hoped that everything would go well with baby and we could do the trip, and we did, and it was great. But all that to say, like, we kind of almost forced ourselves into going out and trying it to see how it goes. And we were also big on giving ourselves grace. I mean, we traveled quite a bit, and we didn't have a long-term plan to say we're going to go travel full-time indefinitely with a baby. We said we're going to go do it for a month, and if we don't like it, then we're going to also give ourselves grace on the flip side and say this isn't for us. Full-timing with a family isn't for everybody, especially, everyone has different scenarios. We did it for a month and we had a great time, and there were definite challenges, realizing that if we were pretty far from where we were staying and we had a long walk or hike back with the baby, she was going to fuss and cry. But my key takeaway from the early travel days with a small baby was that it's possible. It's not as easy when it was just us, but I would much rather deal with those problems of like putting up with a fussy baby than just like sitting at home and being bored and making excuses that I can't travel because I have a kid. I don't want to like use her as an excuse for why we didn't do the things we wanted to do.
And I got to tell you, tip of the hat. I mean, you walked through Death Valley barefoot, 8 months pregnant, and you booked a trip like that. Woo! That's strong.
Hats off to you. That's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Hats off to that one. Now, what about making doctor's appointments? What's that like on the road, especially with a newborn?
So we just had our first real doctor's appointment scare with Ellie about 3 days after everything in America shut down for quarantine. It was day 3 of her having 104 fever. And that's when our doctor said he knew we were going to be traveling. He said, if she has a fever for 3 days, then I'm worried they come in. And we're 1,000 miles away, quarantining in Alabama. And no doctor's offices are letting kids come in or anything like that, especially out of state. And Heath is just on the phone, just worried dad voice, sitting next to Ellie while she's crying, just please, something's wrong. I don't know. I just flew to California. I could be sick, kind of dropping all these hints, guys, this is serious. Please let me bring my baby in. And she was fine. She just had a fever and it went away the very next day. But we were able to get into a doctor and get her checked out and everything like that. But it took just that little bit of finagling of convincing a doctor's office to take in a new patient during a really tense time, but it did all work out for us. So it's just nerve-wracking.
Yeah, that was definitely the most kind of fear we've had. As far as other appointments that have been scheduled out for doctors in Texas, we just went back for those appointments because our house moves. And so that hasn't been a big deal as far as that goes. And our pediatrician has been so supportive of us traveling. The doctor that we had right after Ellie was born. He asked when we were going to go do our next trip, and we said when she's 4 months old. He said, "Why are you waiting so long?" So it was really encouraging because he's like, the baby is malleable, it will adapt. But I will say that during COVID, that was a scary situation because they were not taking people in. And that speaks to, I think, a whole bigger thing around a lot of RVers that were feeling displaced in certain scenarios. And we didn't have a place to go. We were there because we were hosting an event and we were working and we were staying put and isolating once we were supposed to be doing that. Yeah. But, you know, people just didn't, a lot of people don't understand if it's your full-time house. So I don't know. James and Ashley may have a better answer for something like that.
Yeah, I was going to say James and Ashley. And also, what about insurance? How does that work on the road as well?
That is a good question, and it's tricky because some insurances you have to go to specific providers, which may only be in certain either states or regions and whatnot. So that's something you definitely want to do your research on if you already have insurance, is to figure out, okay, am I allowed to go to any hospital or any whatever? Because there have been times where we were in Florida or whatever, and we've had to make an appointment, whether it be for Ash or the girls. And luckily we switched and we went to, almost, what is it called? It's like a health sharing plan. It's where so we can basically go anywhere we want. Basically, just make sure that your provider allows you to go to different places, because you don't want to be on the other side of the country and realize I have to go all the 3,000 miles to find a doctor without having to pay cash out of pocket, because that can get expensive. So that is definitely a concern that you need to look into.
And like you guys said, we found a doctor that supports our lifestyle, luckily, and she is all for it. She is like, I'm jealous. That sounds amazing. Whenever we come back in, she goes, so where have you been? Tell me all about it, you know? And so it's just also finding, I don't know, that community also in the healthcare system where someone supports what you do.
Yeah, so we have our general doctor back in Oregon, and then we can just call and talk to her, like, hey, we need prescriptions refilled or we need whatever, and then we schedule our big appointments when we're back in Oregon.
Yeah, I mean, I got to admit, I am a little bit jealous of the lifestyle too. I mean, it seems like there's so many positives to it. I know there's also a flip side to it, and I wanted, while I had you guys here, to ask, do you ever just miss being home?
I know my mom's watching right now, so if I say no, she's going to text me. So we miss you, Mom. No, sure, but I
think missing family is the hardest part for us. Like, we've been on the road for so long that there's not a single place that feels like home. Like, being here at our dinette, this feels like home, wherever it is that we're parked. And sometimes that is in his mom's driveway, which is great because then you can get that quality time with family and things like that. But as long as we spend time with family a few times a year, then it doesn't feel like we're like totally displaced and away from our community.
Yeah, I would definitely say home is like communal for us. And so if we're traveling with family who usually meets us on the road several times a year, as well as us going back, as well as like we're caravanning with a few sets of friends right now. There's 3 other RVs in this campground that are our friends. And so for us, it's like, you know, that's it. Like Alyssa said, it's here in the RV, and when we're around those people, we don't miss home as much. I definitely don't miss Texas in the summertime.
Right. Yeah, they can. And by the way, Mama Heath, he did the Italy trip for the baby. All right, James and Ashley, what about you guys? Do y'all just miss home sometimes?
I mean, I agree totally. Yeah. It's the people, not the place that you miss. It's the family and whatnot. And so we did learn early on. We went out for like a 6-month plus trip where we went to the East Coast and whatnot. And we've learned that we try and limit our trips to 3 months away from family, because Ashley misses her family big time. I totally miss my family. The kids get homesick. They miss the cousins and whatnot. So we try and limit our trips to 3 months out and about, and then we can come back and spend time, whether it be driveway surfing in the in-laws' house or whatnot. Now, the one caveat to that I will say, we are looking and wanting to get a home base of our own. That doesn't,
this is brand new information.
That doesn't mean
everybody.
That doesn't mean sticks and bricks. That means land. We want to buy some land in the Pacific Northwest and basically build a campsite. So we know at the very least, when something like COVID happens, we have a place to go to where we can hook up. We have power and sewer and water, and we aren't reliant on driveway surfing in somebody's place or trying to find a campground. Because COVID was kind of a wake up for, I think, a lot of people. And like the freedom of RV life is great, but having that home base to go back to, that security net or safety net would be just make you feel that much more comfortable, I guess. So that's after full-timing for almost 3 years now. We're looking at getting a home base, not stopping traveling, but just having a home base to come back to.
Sure. Yeah, as a matter of fact, Heath and Alyssa, you guys, the campsite that you're at now, you're looking at a permanent spot there, right?
We're looking at buying a campground. So we're in Colorado looking at buying like a park so that we can use it as a home base and place for us to go to, and also as a place to host our conference and events and bring in other people who are maybe working on the road and things like that. So we're in a town right now that has fiber internet. They've got some land along the river we're going to go look at on Monday. So maybe we can buy about 5 to 10 acres and put a cool campsite up with co-working and be like a place we can go to, and other people that are nomadic and want to pop in as well.
And our end goal, because we don't want to stop traveling, but we do want to have that place to go back to, is to own multiple campgrounds in all of our favorite states, so that we can just kind of have a network of like summer and winter house. It sounds amazing, but they're businesses, so it works.
Yeah, well, something to call yours.
Yeah,
absolutely. Now, while you're on the road, and I know this can be more difficult with more kids, but when you have a little baby, how do you find time for you two? How do you get that reconnection time while having kids?
Are you asking us first?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Mainly because of the hat. I want that hat on the screen as much as humanly possible. That's all. There it is.
I would say that we took a year off of full-time travel. We got an apartment in where Alyssa's hometown is from to be around family. And I would say from a quality time perspective, it hasn't changed a ton from when we were stationary last year to being on the road again full-time. I mean, we have 2 naps a day where we get to hang out or do work, and then basically a little bit in the morning and in the evening. And then obviously when we're hanging out with Ellie too, we go on walks and things like that. I'd say we definitely have to be more intentional about it, but I think anybody that also travels with their spouse or partner in their RV also knows that you can be around somebody all day and not be kind of close with, like, you can be around somebody all day and like say a few words or not really have quality time. So I would just say we have to even be more intentional about it. Like we were talking the other day, we're like, I feel like we haven't really hung out today, even though we've been together all day. So we definitely have that, but I think that's probably true if we had a house.
Well, especially when you're like working from home and like working together, like you just like get in a zone behind your laptop and forget to be like, hey, dude, how's your day going?
Yeah, it's a weird casual way that you're doing it. Yeah,
it's very comfortable. Yeah, I just want to know if the whip goes along with the Indiana Jones hat. All right, James and Ash. Now, Goose and Maverick are going wild right now. They're at that age. How do you find time not only for yourselves but the breakaway time?
It definitely can be tough, which is like date nights become very difficult when you're on the road. So when we're on the road, we really don't get much of date nights. But I will say we have met our family all over the country. Like we're all from the Pacific Northwest, but we've met family in Texas, Florida, in Washington, D.C.
We went to Cuba with them.
We went to Cuba and whatnot. And when you are meeting up with family or people that you trust, we've even met some friends on the road that we trust enough to let them watch the kids for a little bit so we can have some alone time, some date night or whatever. But also that's one of the reasons why we like to go back every few months to the home base, because then grandma and grandpa can watch the kids and we can go out and have an extended date night. But on the flip side of that, we do in-house date nights. Yeah. So once the kids...
And we've always done that. Like even before we traveled, we had in-house date nights where you get takeout or you make something special, like we do like a yummy cheese platter or something and some wine or whatever, and then you get to watch a movie or a show after the kids go to bed.
So it's all about just trying to find those windows of time as when you can. I mean, it's similar to what I think a lot of people are experiencing right now at home because daycares were closed down and whatnot. So you got to find ways to make it work where, okay, the kids are napping, like you said, or the kids are going to bed, or they have their playtime, and we can do this. So just trying to squeeze those moments and intentionally making that time. As horrible as it sounds to schedule time, like intentionally scheduling that time and making it a thing, because otherwise if you don't, it just doesn't happen.
Well, if it's worth it, you'll find a way. So
So I absolutely agree with that, because you're out there to reconnect, which is one of the great things about the RV lifestyle. One of the things though that my wife harps on me about, I'm not the most organized person on the planet, and somebody just asked a great question about the organization tips. For the guys, I'm needing help. This is my plea for help right here. Are there any organization tips you guys could share when you're talking about spending a long amount of time together in an RV? James and Ashley, you guys go first. Go for it.
You marry someone that is very well organized and loves to organize, because I am the same way. I am not very much of an organizer, although I will say we actually literally just mentioned this earlier today. This lifestyle has made me become more organized, more, I don't want to say a neat freak, but like when there's stuff out in a small space, it's far more like, oh my goodness, I'm feeling claustrophobic. So I clean and put stuff away. And when things are clean and nice and organized and open, I feel much more relaxed. And I don't feel like I used to be like that. So
the dishes don't sit in the sink forever, which is
right.
So it's kind of just like doing the little things constantly, instead of like maybe doing a big clean in a sticks and bricks house every couple days where we would let the dishes pile up or toys from the kids would pile up. Like, we are cleaning up and putting stuff away. Okay, you're done with your toys? Put those away. Okay, we're done cooking, do the dishes. Because if you just let those little things build up throughout the day, you will feel, or at least we feel, very claustrophobic, and it makes the small space feel even smaller.
He makes the bed every day now.
I never did that before. Never.
Just saying.
All right, Heath and Alyssa, what about some organization tips from you guys?
I would probably say the exact same thing. Like, having a small space makes a big difference, because you just have to be intentional first about just what you're going to bring with you, because you'll realize very quickly what things you really need and what things you really didn't need at all, that you should just chunk in storage, drop off at Goodwill and get rid of. But we've been RVing for a while, so we've got a couple like empty spaces in our RV, and that's how we like to keep it, so that we're never feeling like everything is overflowing, because then you do feel a little bit claustrophobic. But I think for Heath, Chris, you want some man advice. His domain is like the bays underneath the RV. Okay. That's where the mess and non-organization is. But everything inside is pretty organized.
Out of sight, out of mind. No, but it's true. I think one thing that has been really helpful, it's a lot easier to be organized when you have less stuff. Okay. So a lot of people were like, you're going to fill up all the cabinets and bays, and we just never have.
Intentionally,
because you will always pick up a thing here or there that you need maybe, and so we maybe intentionally pare down too much. Like, we have 2 cups for drinking our water, and I always am taking Alyssa's, and I we went to the extreme where it's like, we don't need that, get it out here. Like, we used it the past 30 days, chunk it. I'm probably annoying. We've had to buy more stuff because of that, but
I have to rebuy stuff all the time, because I'm like, where's the bottle scrubber? And he's like, oh, did we need that? I'm like, yeah, wash the baby bottles.
Anyway,
you will notice things fill up much quicker with kids. That's the struggle. Yes. So when you say you have empty cupboards, I'm like, I'm jealous of that.
I know.
Yes. We're like, all right, where are we putting these toys, these clothes, these baby diapers, etc. So
yeah, honestly, our daughter has as much fun playing with our spatula as toys right now. So I don't know how long that'll hold, but soaking it up.
It's a great age, which leads into another great question. With the way the lifestyles have changed a little bit, what essentials for the kids for the lifestyle on the road are must-haves in your opinion? I mean, you guys got a 1-year-old, so
yeah, stacks on stacks of diapers and wipes is probably the number one.
A baby carrier, so you could take them anywhere, like on hikes and stuff like that, and a good stroller that you can like take on gravel, because a lot of campgrounds are going to be gravel or dirt roads, so something that can handle that.
Like an off-road one.
And I think those are the biggest things. Oh, a car seat. You're going to want that.
Yeah, we do have. This is a question that a lot of people ask. Not every manufacturer has car seat tethers in the dinette where you can put a rear-facing car seat.
Like for motorhomes.
For motorhomes, yeah. This one does. So that's just obviously something that I'm sure everybody would look at. But some manufacturer, like this one, I think has 4 different areas in the dinette where you can put a car seat.
We are never going to have 4 car seats in there. I keep telling you. That's way too much.
Just saying. Our daughter's waking.
Planning that like he planned the Italy trip. You might want to watch out.
Yeah. Alyssa's grabbing her daughter. She's waking up from her nap, so she's going to join us.
Yeah, no, absolutely, she can join us. All right, so James and Ashley, what about you guys? Same question. What are some essentials?
As they get older, spatulas become less interesting. But I mean, they still play with them, but like they want to play with them in dirt, so they have their own. but we also allow them to have a bucket of toys. So 1 bucket of toys per kid, and then 1 that they are willing to share.
Oh, look at that smile.
Ooh.
I got a full stand.
You're online.
My question is, does Heath wake up the same way with that big smile?
He does. I do not.
Oh, look at
So,
that.
so bucket of toys, and what else? Ashley, you had some really good ones right there.
So a bucket of toys each, a bucket to share, and then I have just a little one of those 3-drawer things that has all of the arts and crafts. So you want to do stamps, great. Like, get it out of the drawer, put it back. Make sure that, you know, you have just things that entertain them, but at the same time, like, when you're traveling, we're telling them, go outside, explore. Let's take a look around. We are here. Not everybody gets to do that. Like, let's figure out what this has to offer.
And we've seen people that have pared down their kids' clothes to where 1 kid fits in a drawer.
That is not us.
We didn't go to that extreme. Our kids have a decent amount of clothes, but
They have more than we do.
What we did to maximize that is our rig. We have the room up front and back, but then we also have 2 bathrooms. So we have a full bathroom in the back and a full bathroom in the front. So we converted the rear shower. We put a shower, a hanger bar up front, and converted that to a closet. So the kids have all of their hanging clothes in that shower. And because there's no need for 2 showers. So if we want to shower, they come up front and they shower in our shower. And that made it the world of difference because it allowed us to keep a ton of their hanging clothes and whatnot, way more than they would have their jackets, because we don't know whether we're going to be in snow weather or cold weather or warm weather. So having that extra hanging space was, I think, a big win that we stumbled upon very early on by converting that shower.
That's a great tip. Speaking of converting, so Heath and Alyssa, have you guys had to do any baby proofing since, you know, baby Ellie's getting a little bit bigger and going to start moving around a lot more?
So the best thing that we have in our motorhome is there's stairs going down out of the Class 8s. We only have 1 door. It's up in the front. And we were worried about her falling, but there's a stair cover that will come out and extend it, and she loves it because she can go look out the window.
Yeah, so it's like the little platform that slides out of the stairs, so that it's a lot of diesel pushers will have this so that if you're sitting in the passenger seat, your feet aren't dangling over the stairs. But this will cover the whole staircase, and then she can stare out the window on the door and wave at all the dogs that walk by.
Yeah.
So it's basically an already baby-proofed house.
Yeah. One of the things we did look at with when we were getting into another motorhome is that we have her pack and play in the rear bathroom. So there's 2 bathrooms on this unit. We don't need both. So Ellie commandeered the back bathroom, the master, and her pack and play goes in there. So we don't have to like trip over it and stuff like that.
Speaking of conversions and pack and plays, another tip that we did is when we first started, our youngest was only 7 months old. So she was in a pack and play too. And she was in that for a long time, but that kept getting in our way because it took up their floor space. So what we did is we converted the upper bunk into almost like a crib in that top upper part, and made that, seems horrible. A lot of people call it like a little baby prison, but it's great for the youngest because you can close them in there, lock them in, not worry about them falling out, and then it frees up all that floor space where that pack and play was.
Yeah.
Right on. Now, do you guys have any like good tips for cooking for kids on the road or finding food for kids on the road? Because for my boys, it's just straight up chicken tenders.
Yeah. I don't know. I like to mix it up, and I like to try new things. And I guess our rule is you take 3 bites, and that helps you decide if you like the new food.
And if you don't like it, you don't really have much of another option.
You can eat whatever you like within the food that is provided.
That's right.
But I will say, you fall back on chicken strips. That's like chicken strips and fries.
I mean, that always seems to, to be the fallback go-to, especially for us. Well, guys, I got to tell you, this has been fantastic, and I'm also very glad that baby Ellie got a chance to join us too. Hey, sweetie. Hey, baby. Hello. So, the Chicks Life, James and Ashley, Heath and Alyssa, thank you guys so much for joining us here and giving us some great tips and information about what it's like to full-time with a family in an RV. I can't wait to catch up with you guys very soon. Thank you again.
Thanks, Chris.
We'll see you guys soon. So, hopefully that gave you some good information on what you could learn, do, transition into full-timing in an RV with the family. Now, all day today during the summer solstice, we've been telling you to register for giveaways, up to $50,000 worth of prizes and RV essentials that we're going to be giving away. How about I pull some winners right now for some $250 gift cards? All right, right away, Christopher Murray, you just won yourself a $250 gift card. Thank you so much for registering. Linda Klepper, congratulations to you as well. Connie Dooley, Cheryl Lee, and Lois Phillips. Guess what? All of you just won yourself a $250 gift card from us here at Camping World and Gander RV and Outdoors, just for registering at summer solstice. Now, if you noticed, I'm actually sitting in a beautiful motorhome. If you want to know more about some motorhomes, I got my good buddy Ian Baker coming up in just a few minutes to take you on a tour and give you some tips and tricks about what to think about before you buy your next motorhome. That's all coming up right here on Summer Solstice as we continue in just a few minutes.
Travel with peace of mind. Good Sam Roadside Assistance covers your cars, RVs, motorcycles, and all eligible family members. Unlike the competition, we offer unlimited distance towing, free roadside tire delivery, and coverage in all of North America. It's no wonder top consumer reviews ranked us #1. With all plans currently 50% off, you can't afford to get stuck without it.